Welcome back here to Michelin Raceway here at Road Atlanta for Petit Le Mans, one of the best events to me on the entire global motorsports calendar. This event is so important. It was started by Dr. Don Panos as a one-off event in 1998, a kind of precursor to the American Le Mans series, which raced between 1999 and 2013. And it was a series that really set the tone for what sports car racing was really truly to become, not only here in the United States, but on the global stage. In fact, the World Endurance Championship and IMSA, of course, follow essentially the Don Panos formula of bringing the best cars, the best drivers, and the best competition, best tracks, best classes to this style of racing. It really has set the blueprint, and this event really is, if you like current sports car racing, it's this event where it really took back off after a really tough section in the 90s, the early 90s, when the World Championship fell apart and Group C fell apart and GTP here in the States, the original GTP, fell apart. So it's been so cool to see the rise of IMSA over the last couple of years, and yeah, full credit to this series. We'll be talking about one of the very interesting stories later on in this video, as well as preview tomorrow's Petit Le Mans. But the Porsche news, the fact that Porsche has pulled out of the World Championship, is something that I want to discuss just a little bit. But first, I really want to talk about what's happening at Petit tomorrow. We had qualifying today, and if you remember our coverage from Indianapolis, now unofficially, the same car qualified on the pole, but they were penalized in technical inspection after, so really they weren't on the pole. But it's the number 60 Meyer-Shank Racing Acura ARX 06 on the pole position. It's Tom Blomqvist once again qualifying on the pole. And the Acuras have been very, very quick, especially more recently in qualifying. Single lap pace is one of the strengths of that particular machine. On the outside of the front row is the number 31 Whelen Cadillac, which won the most recent race in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Number 93 Acura on the inside of row 2. Outside is the number 7 Penske Porsche. And then in row 3, it's the Aston Martin Valkyrie, which has been very, very fast. They were fastest in night practice last night. And then the number 6 Porsche. Now the Porsches going for the Drivers' Championship as well as the Manufacturers' Championship. Acura can only fight for the Manufacturers' Championship, so very interesting there. And I suppose we should talk a little bit more about GTP before we get into the other classes. I mentioned the pace, right? That's going to be a real important key in this race. And it's kind of what we talked about at Sebring as well. This race ends at night. It begins in the morning, runs all the way through the heat of the day and into the cool night. A lot of teams, especially in GTP, will compromise their cars to just survive during the daytime and be good at night because, of course, a lot of these IMSA races end in a late race shootout, you know, an hour to go, 45 minutes to go, 30 minutes to go, even 15 minutes to go. You might see a yellow, you might see a restart, and you might have to race to the front. So if your car's good at night, and also if your car's good on the short run, hello Acura, that would be what you want to see. But one of the things, at least kind of talking around the paddock today, it sounds like the Porsches are really good at night, both in the long run and the short run. So it could be Porsche versus Acura towards the end of the race. And sure, why not? Why wouldn't it be a little bit cool to see a spoiler like an Aston Martin play a role? But I think Whelen Engineering as well, they're really hitting their stride. I think we're in for a hell of a competitive race overall at Petit Le Mans tomorrow. And LMP2, no real surprise. They've been pretty strong. It's either them or AO Racing, usually on the pole position. TDS Racing, which won the most recent LMP2 event at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Steven Thomas was the qualifying driver in that car. In GTD Pro, it was the Paul Miller BMW car number 48 on the pole position. Dan Harper taking the pole position in that car, but they weren't the fastest GT car overall. That belongs to the Cetilar Ferrari, overall fastest in GT with the GTD class Ferrari. Lorenzo Patrese, yes, he's a relative. He's the son of former Formula One driver Riccardo Patrese. So it's his first pole position, second for Cetilar in the GT ranks. Although, despite the fact that the Ferrari fastest overall in the GTD, combined GTD times, the GTD regular, or AM as I call them, cars will start behind the pros. So the 48 BMW will be on the overall GT pole. But the other car to watch, I think, in GTD Pro is the number 81 Dragon Speed Ferrari. The Ferraris just in general are very, very fast here at Road Atlanta. They usually always are. And They were quick in qualifying. They actually had their fastest lap deleted, but by the end of 10 hours, we won't be remembering that very much. So I guess we'll talk about Porsche. I mean, it was major news this week that Porsche is pulling out of the World Endurance Championship. The reasons are varied. A lot of it has to do with the global economy. A lot of it has to do with the fact that Porsche has invested heavily in EV technology. And the long story short is Porsche Penske Motorsport will continue here in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, and global racing for Porsche will take place, at least in the short term, in Formula E to try to support some of their EV brand endeavors in Europe. Of course, here in the United States, EV cars aren't nearly as popular, and it kind of goes to show that that racing in IMSA is still important. Now, in terms of the World Championship, this is where things get a little bit interesting, and Sports Car 365 has been all over this today, as well as Daily Sports Car. Want to give those outlets full credit for getting a lot of this reporting done. But the talk of the town really has been that Porsche might not really be out of the World Championship. In particular, their GT program run by the Manthey team, we expect them to fully be back with a two-car GT program. And then there's the question, of course, because Porsche is the only manufacturer that supports customer racing. They have a customer car in the World Endurance Championship with Proton. The problem is Proton would need to secure a second car, a second entry into the championship, and then they would need to be nominated by Porsche, which would involve some money exchanging hands between Porsche and the series to be able to continue as Porsche's nominated two-car team. Now, why that's important is if Proton continues in the World Championship, even as a privateer but factory-blessed entry, that would open up the opportunity for Penske Porsche Motorsport to still enter at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. There's a reason why you don't see an accurate Le Mans. It's not because they don't want to be there. It's because they don't want to run the World Championship. And, if you don't want to run the World Championship as a manufacturer, you're not in Le Mans. But if Porsche is able to loophole their way in to the World Endurance Championship through a private team, you could still see a factory-supported effort in Penske Porsche Motorsport at Le Mans due to the fact that they are set to earn an automatic entry to Le Mans here tomorrow between one of their two cars, which is going to win the Drivers' Championship here in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. So really fascinating political stuff. And then you get into the whole idea of, well, how will the balance of performance be for a Porsche that would go to Le Mans essentially as a factory entry, but operating outside of the World Endurance Championship? Would they be treated fairly? I think that's an important question to ask, and one that I suppose we may end up having the answer to. It could get very interesting, that's for sure. And you think about all the manufacturers not only coming into the World Endurance Championship, you think about Genesis, you think about Ford, you think about McLaren. All three of those have expressed interest in coming over and racing here in IMSA. But now we talk about convergence, and now there's a little bit of unconvergence. You've got cars that race exclusively here now. You've got the Lamborghini, which of course is running its last race tomorrow. The Acura only races here, and starting next year, the only factory full-time Porsche team is going to be racing here in IMSA. And then you see Genesis, Ford, McLaren, they are all choosing to participate in WEC first and then expand to IMSA. You saw how long it took to get one single LMH car over here, thanks to Aston Martin. No other LMH style cars are on the horizon for IMSA, at least at this particular time. So it's interesting. We're in a golden era. Let's not make any mistake about that, but this could be the first crack in the armor of the golden era. But anyway, that's no fun. What is fun is Petit Le Mans. It's going to be awesome. 10 hours, and we'll have full coverage tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube. This is one of the best events in the world. I hope you'll tune in tomorrow, and we'll see you there.